Hi, I'm Peggy Venable. You're watching On Point Television, and we're here tonight at the CSCOPE debate, and we have right here Representative Bryan Hughes. Thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Well, you've been a real leader in the Texas legislature for a number of years. I know this has been an enormous issue. There was a vote that took place this last legislative session that would require the State Board of Education to review the CSCOPE material, and I know you voted for that, as did a majority. As a matter of fact, such a large majority in the House and Senate voted for it that it was immediately law as soon as the governor signed it. What did you think about the debate tonight?
It was very helpful. You know, Senator Patrick and Thomas Rattler are both knowledgeable guys. They know the material well. They have very strong feelings about it. I thought a lot of good material came out. And as you said, the bill we passed, Senate Bill 1406, as I recall, it said, let's have this approved by the State Board of Education. They're the folks that we elect. They approve textbooks. They're the ones that are charged by the voters, by the people of Texas, to review curriculum, to review the materials that our school children are going to be studying. And so it made sense for us to have the State Board of Education reviewing it. And a lot of it is about transparency, right? I think that came out tonight. Much of the concern about CSCOPE was the fact that it was back in the shadows. I've heard from some of my school personnel whom I trust, and they enjoy CSCOPE. CSCOPE is helpful to them in some ways. Now, they weren't in love with all the lessons, but they said CSCOPE was helpful to them in some ways. But I think everyone acknowledged that when it's done the way it was done, back out of the public eye, it just made everybody nervous. So if out of this we have more transparency and more accountability, I think everybody wins.
Well, you hit on something that was one of the central points, I think, of the debate tonight, and that was the lack of transparency for CSCOPE. Tens of millions of public dollars were spent on CSCOPE, and yet we still don't really know whether or not the material was written in competitive bids. We don't see the money flow. There are no line items in the ESCs, the Region Service Center budgets for CSCOPE. How big a concern is that to you?
Well, there's an audit going on right now, and I think that's good for everyone. You know, whether someone is for or against CSCOPE, or you like part of it and you dislike part of it, an audit ought to be good for everyone. Let's find out what really happened, because right now there's speculation. We have a lot of concerns. And a lot of folks say it's nothing to worry about, nothing happened. Well, that's what audits are for. Let's see what the numbers say. And I think that's going to be good for all of us. So I'm anxious to get the results of that.
Well, I know some of us were concerned that the legislation to postpone the sunset of CSCOPE and of the Region Service Centers, which is really a review of the mission and finances and operations of it, have been postponed to 2019. Do you see this state audit report kind of taking the place of that?
Well, we know that if the legislature is going to do their job, and if the state board is going to do their job, we have to have good information. You know, we're accountable to the people, and we have to be able to do our jobs. And so, even though that sunset process isn't for a couple more sessions, you know, every time the legislature meets, we pass a budget, we pass major legislation, so we always have a chance to look at these things. So I hope you're right. Once we get that audit, I think we'll have the tools we need to make sure everything's going like it's supposed to go.
Wow. I trust it's in good hands. I'm Peggy Venable. We've been visiting with Representative Bryan Hughes, the Texas House member from, you're actually in Tyler. And
I represent, yes ma'am, I represent a big part of Tyler. We're actually in Representative Matt Schaefer's district tonight. My district is right over that way.
Just across the street is his district.
Yes, ma'am. I'm proud to represent 6 East Texas counties, and you're right in the heart of that area. And you mentioned it being in good hands. It's in good hands so long as folks hold us accountable and we do our jobs.
Well, I think lots of folks are, all eyes are on CSCOPE and on what's going on with that. It seems like there's so much interest in that. This was a full packed house tonight, pretty equally divided attendees. So thank you for being here, and thanks for letting us visit with you.
It's good to have you in East Texas. We appreciate your work.
Thank you. And you've been watching On Point Television. I'm Peggy Venable, and we're here at the CSCOPE debate in Tyler, Texas at the University of Texas here. Cool.